Sorry for the glitch. Good evening. So, yeah. So today's topic is about formula auditing, freezing and unfreezing panes, format painter. Okay. So first thing we'll see how to use a format painter here. So, sorry, how to use freezing and unfreezing panes here. Okay. Now, see, where is the freezing and unfreezing pane option visible to us? It's in the review tab here. If I come to the view tab here, you can see there is something called as freeze panes in the window options, correct? So I'll just unfreeze the panes for now because I've freezed it. So freezing pane is nothing but it is a tool which helps us to freeze certain rows and columns here, okay? So when I'm freezing certain rows and columns here, what is happening here is, uh, yeah. So what will happen here is, see, if I want to actually freeze the columns, when I'm scrolling down, I just want to see the column headers also, okay? So in that case, what I can do is I can actually freeze one of the rows or one of the columns here based on my requirement. So the first thing we'll see here is, see, to freeze anything here, what I need to do is I need to keep my cursor here, this particular box cursor here, before the row or the column that I want to freeze. So if I'm keeping my cursor here, what will happen is one column and one row will be freezed because I am keeping the cursor here. If I keep the cursor here, A and B column and this particular row will be freezed. If I keep it here, A and B column plus the first two rows will be freezed. Okay, so that is what is the logic of this particular freezing option. And there are also certain predefined freezing options here. And if you see here, when I come to freeze panes, there is something called as freeze top rows, which will automatically freeze the top row here. So if I go down, I can just see here automatically the column headers are traveling with me wherever I go in the sheet. Okay. In the same way, I can freeze first column also. So if I just go to the right, for example, if I'm going towards the right, the first column also will be freezed here. Okay. Now, in the same way, if suppose I want to freeze the first column and the first row, so what I can do is I can just say unfreeze panes and see, I'm keeping my cursor one column before this and one row before this. So that means whatever before that one column or one row is there, that will be freezed here. Okay. So I'll just freeze this pane here. And now you can see automatically what is happening. The row and the column is being freezed here. Okay. The row and the column is being freezed. You can see if I go to the right, even the column is freezed, and if I go to the bottom, the row is also freezed. Okay, so this is how you use freeze panes in your in any situation where you want to do certain analysis, or if you want to keep certain rows and columns freezed, you can freeze it through this particular freeze pane option. So if I keep my cursor here, what will happen? All these rows and all these columns will be freezed. So if I have to show you, you can see automatically the rows and columns before the cursor will all be freeze together. Okay, you can see automatically now it is freeze together. This is how we use freeze pane and unfreeze pane option here from the view tab. Okay. Now let us just go to one more interesting topic, that is format painter. So today we'll see what is actually a format painter. See, we already know what is a formatting, correct? A formatting is nothing but a visual change done to this particular data. So for example, if I'm applying this formatting right now itself, we have seen there are certain formattings applied on this data. I'll just apply one more. Okay, I'll apply formatting to this particular column here and say if I want to bold it, do italics, underlining. I want to color it also. I want to do this, and then over and above that I am increasing the font size, and then I am also changing the angle of the data here. Okay, now if you see this particular formatting here, how many types of formatting I have applied in this particular data itself? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Literally 7 kind of formattings I have applied. So when I want to copy certain formattings like this, which I have already applied, I don't need to go and reapply each and every time all the 7 buttons. No need for me to go and click it. So what I can do is I can just select wherever I applied the formatting which I want to copy. And here if you see there is something called as format painter, this particular brush on the top. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll select this format painter and apply it wherever I want. So right now you can see the same formatting is applied everywhere also, wherever I select it. Now if you saw, what I need to do is each and every time I need to go and click on the format painter. So once you click on the format painter, what will happen? Only once the formatting will be applied. Now if I want to apply multiple times continuously, no need for me to go and each and every time select and click on the format painter button. I can select only once which formatting I want to select, and then I can double click on the format painter button here, and then what I can do here, I can just select as many as rows I want to actually format continuously. See, this particular option is first time it got disabled automatically. Now it is not getting disabled automatically. It is doing what? It is just getting formatted one by one. Okay, for each and every row. Okay. This is how we use a format painter. It's actually very easy to use and many people don't know also. So this is how we use a format painter button. And if I press escape, now this particular formatting will stop applying. Wherever I click, now it's a normal. It's actually counted as a normal click. Okay. So over and above that, what I can do is today we'll see one more thing, that is actually what is called as formula auditing. See, till now we have seen many formulas, correct? So we have seen many formulas. So when we are using formulas, what happens is we face many errors in the formulas. Okay. So for example, if suppose I'm using an X lookup formula here is equal to, let me just create a list here so that I can use an X lookup formula. Copy, paste, and I just want what I want, employee name in the department. Okay. So since we have already learned XLOOKUP formula, you guys know what is an XLOOKUP formula, right? Is equal to XLOOKUP of, yeah, XLOOKUP of, lookup value is what? Employee ID. And the lookup array is my employee ID column. And my return array is what? My employee name, because I want the employee name. Correct. Now I'll press enter here. So my employee name is populated. In the same way, I'll apply the X lookup for department also. Okay. So when I say formula auditing, what it means is, for example, if my formula is giving some error, for example, I'll just say, I'll give a number here which is not there in the list, E100. Okay. So my formula is giving error. So I just want to know why my formula is giving error. So the first thing what I'll do is I'll go to the formulas tab here, and you can see automatically a formula auditing like section is available to us. Okay. So here if you see, there are certain thing called as trace dependence, trace precedence and all. So when I say trace precedence, what it means is it is just saying on what all, see now the arrow marks are showing me on what all columns or cells this particular formula is dependent on. That means precedence in the sense that before the formula getting executed, what all are the this particular formula, on what all cells it is dependent on. So you can see automatically it is dependent on these two columns. So these arrow marks are showing. So if I want to remove arrows, I can click on remove arrows. Now, if I do trace dependence, I can just see on what all other cells are dependent on this particular formula. For example, if I say this cell is dependent on this, so what will happen is if I say now trace dependent, it's showing me that on this particular cell, this formula is dependent. Okay, as simple as that. So it is just tracing from where the formula is being applied, and it is helping us to locate where the formula is applied. In suppose these can be used in cases where if someone else has applied the formulas and we need to do certain formula auditings, we can use these formula auditing options. Okay. Now, what we can do here is over and above that, when there is an error, I can just go and check the error. Error checking options are there here. Okay, and there is something called a show formula also. So what show formula will do, it will show all the formulas in all the cells. So like if I switch this off, now my cell will be normal here. Okay. Now, when I'm facing such errors, what I'll need to do is I'll need to go and evaluate the formula sometimes. So why I need to evaluate is while I'm evaluating the formula, I can see each and every step one by one. So for example, if I'm saying evaluate here and I'm clicking evaluate, see each and every time I click in evaluate, one step is being executed and it is showing me how the formula is getting executed here. Okay. So when I click evaluate, this is how a formula step by step gets evaluated in Excel. So when I say evaluate, again see, it is showing me hash NA because it is just directly. Now I can directly identify that this hash NA is because there is no data in this particular data set. Okay. That is why this particular error is happening. So I can identify any kind of error in any kind of way. For example, if I am doing this and I am just saying is equal to this minus this. Okay. Now it is just saying that, for example, I can say is equal to this minus this. Now you can see automatically what it is showing. It is a circular reference. There is something called a circular reference. So when you are having circular references are nothing but formulas referring again and again to one particular cell again and again. Okay. So if we have circular references in Excel, what we can do is we can go to this error checking option. Anywhere in Excel you can see this particular circular reference option is displayed right now. And if I see in which particular cell I have circular reference L5, okay, it will automatically show the cells which have circular reference errors. So in that case, you can just go there and correct the formulas. Because I've applied the formula on the same cell itself, it's showing me a circular reference. Okay. So these are what are the formula auditing options here in Excel, which we use generally, okay, to actually check the errors or check the steps. If suppose if any one step is in between not correct, we can always go to evaluate formula and we can audit the step, okay. And over and above that, if you see, there are certain calculations options here on the right hand side. So these calculations options, by default it is automatic. See, when it is an automatic calculation, what happens, each and every formula, see, I just need to write the formula and press enter, it is getting executed. But if I keep it to manual here, what will happen, even though if I write the formula here, for example, if I'm now pressing and writing the formula here, it is showing that it has not been calculated, okay. It is showing that it has not been calculated. So for example, if I copy this and I paste the formula here, okay, if I paste the formula here, what it is showing, it is showing that the formula is not getting calculated because I have switched off the calculation, or I have turned the calculation into a manual calculation. Okay. So manual calculation will do what? Automatically, it will stop the formulas from calculating in automatic way. So this can be used to make your Excel faster. If you have lots of formulas in one particular Excel and if it is getting hung, you can always go and change it to manual. And please do remember to change it to automatic, because once you change for all the workbooks, until and unless you change back, it will be the same. And these two, calculate now and calculate sheet options, are nothing but it will calculate the formulas now and it will calculate the sheet. Okay. So these are what are the calculation options and the formula auditing options available in Excel. Okay. Over and above this, if you guys have any doubts here in this, you can always ask me on live chat, or what we can do is we can just end the session today. And the next session is going to be about Power Query. Please be aware of it, and let us just explore Power Query in detail in the next session. Okay. And our next session will be on Monday, since we don't have sessions on weekends. Okay. Do you guys have any doubts? Okay. So if you guys don't have any doubts, what we can do is we can just go ahead and end the session today. Let us just meet tomorrow. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye. See you tomorrow.